Yes, good evening. Welcome to Open Forum.
Hi, Mr. Camping.
Yes.
I have a question for you. I'm kind of new to the program. I've only really heard it maybe once before. My friend told me to listen tonight. And he wanted me to ask you about, because I'm a bit of a skeptic, what you believe the age of the Earth and the universe is.
Okay, I'll answer that right after this message. Hang on, please.
Each weekday at this time, we bring you Open Forum, a telephone talk program airing questions on biblical issues. This feature of Family Stations Incorporated will continue in just a moment.
94.7 FM, WFME Newark.
We continue with more of the Open Forum. You are invited to call in and ask questions or discuss issues that are related to the Bible. Our number is 1-800-322-5385. That's 1-800-322-5385. When your call goes on the air, please be ready to turn your volume down. Here is our host and Bible teacher, Harold Camping.
Amazingly, God in the Bible has given us a very perfect calendar of history. It's not easy to find. You have to work through the scriptures very carefully. But as we go through the Bible, we find that tying the creation to our Roman calendar that we use, the year of creation was 11,013 BC, or about 13,000 years ago. And there is no evidence that scientists can bring forth that contradict that conclusion. They come with a lot of conclusions that contradict that, but we must remember that the invention of writing was about 5,000 years ago. It could have been as early as 5,200, no, not any earlier than that. There's no debate amongst scientific circles about that. The very earliest hieroglyphs or scratches that could be called writing date about 5,000 years ago. And so any dating that was performed by scientists back to about 5,000, whether it's carbon-14 dating or other methods of dating, can be tested against their written record and corrections made if there's an error in the dating process. But once we get earlier than the written record, there is no absolute way of comparing the conclusion of the scientists with reality. The fact is that scientists have to make assumptions, which they call these assumptions. Actually, all they are guesses of how they are to understand certain evidence. When they're dating something, for example, by potassium-argon dating or lead-uranium dating, they know precisely the half-life of these isotopes, and they know the percentages in the rocks today of each of these isotopes, but they do not know what the conditions were when this rock was formed, what the percentages are. They make assumptions, and based on these assumptions, and they need somehow to come across or to accommodate the idea that the world has been around for a long period of time. They make assumptions that allow them to arrive at conclusions that the world is billions of years old, and that way they don't have to think in terms of a creator. They don't have to think in terms of a God. But all of this is completely haywire. It is not in accordance with truth at all. The Bible is very clear that 13,000 years ago, in 6 days of time, the infinite God, who is from eternity past, spoke and brought this magnificent universe into existence. All we have to do is look at the complexity of a rose and study the fragrant aroma that comes from the rose and the beautiful color of the petals, and and then go on to any other life forms, both plant and animal, and see how absolutely complex they are. And we realize that someone with an infinite mind had to create this, and there's no way it could have come into existence in any other way. And then we go to the Bible and we find very accurate and exact answers insofar as the timetable of all this and how it all happened. We don't understand how God could speak and bring this universe into existence, but he did, because he is infinite God.
Mr. Camping, are you still there?
Yep.
Listening to me?
Yes.
Okay, I was wondering, there's many reasons scientists can explain that the Earth and the universe is much older, one of them being just that light from stars, that it takes millions of years from light from stars, certain stars, to get to the Earth, and they have. Just the fact that that light has reached here.
Yes, excuse me. Let me explain that. That's not a problem. When God created man on this earth on the 6th day, he did not create man as a newborn baby. He created man as a full-grown man. So that at the instant that Adam was created, the first man, he looked like a man that was 30 years old or 40 or whatever years old. He was a man. In other words, God did not have to create him and then have him grow to his full maturity. Likewise, when God created the stars on the 4th day, and the sun and the moon, the celestial clock that gives us the length of the year and the length of the day and so on, he did not have to wait for this light from that distant star to get here. At the moment he creates the star, he also created the light all the way from that star to Earth, so that at the instant of creation, we already see that star on Earth, even though in distance it may be billions of light years out there in space. Likewise, the Bible tells us in 2 Peter chapter 3, when the end of the world comes, all the elements of the stars of the heavens as well as of this earth will melt with fervent heat. Now, it doesn't mean that as those stars collapse out there, that it's going to take 1 billion years for the evidence to be seen here on this earth. It simply means, again, God is creator, and time is not of essence to him. He will simply do this, and the light beams that come from that distant star will disappear instantly at the same time. We must bear in mind that we're dealing with an infinite God who is not subject to time in any way whatsoever.
Okay, isn't this in stark contrast to what the late, great Baba Booey says on this? Or Father Opie, or Dr. Anthony, or maybe stuttering John Melendez?
Oh, well, it may be contrary to all kinds of thinking of man, but look, let's ask the question. Which man has a brain, has a mind that approximate God's mind? And the answer is, why, we have little peanut minds. The most intellectual of us, our mind is just like a little peanut compared with the infinite mind of God. Is there anybody today who can design and instantly bring into production something as complicated as a newborn baby or any other life form that we want to look at? Can anybody do that? Of course not. Absolutely not. But God did it. God did it. And so we very humbly have to take a back seat and say, oh, well, we know that